Well, welcome to the third of 7 videos exploring Chapter 8 and Risk Decisions from Wheeler's most excellent book on security risk management. So what we're going to be doing during this kind of short video is looking at risk mitigation planning. And as you might imagine, the goals of risk mitigation planning go back to those two factors that we've been talking about really all course. This idea of lowering the likelihood of a risk being realized or reducing the impact. And the two mechanisms for reducing that impact, the first of which is to reduce the severity of a particular impact or to recover very quickly from that impact. So consider, if you will, the following statement from the CIO at Georgia Tech. Phishing attacks are going to get through. There's nothing that he can do to ensure that every faculty member, student, and staff member does not click on a phishing attack. So at least one of those is going to get through. But what you can do is, in the words of Jack Burton from Big Trouble in Little China, it's all in the reflexes. You can respond very, very effectively and have a fine-tuned mechanism by which you respond to that attack. So the goal for Georgia Tech is 20 minutes. Our goal at our university is 20 minutes. We actually do it in about 11. And this means that we're going in once we have the attack detected and stripping it out from everybody's email box so that people that have not opened it yet will never see it, and that we've built the access control lists or ACL rules into our firewalls to prevent that attack from coming back into the environment. So that's an example of this idea of doing risk mitigation by recovering very, very quickly from an exploit and limiting that window of vulnerability, if you will, that there is risk to the organization. There are kind of 4 approaches as we're looking at risk mitigation. And again, risk mitigation is where we're trying to lower the risk within the organization. We're still going to have some residual risk, but what we're trying to do, lower that risk to an acceptable level. So here are 4 general approaches to that. The first of which is risk alleviation. And there we're putting in controls that prevent the threat vulnerability from occurring. Patching is a great example of that and one of those key components of your security arsenal. Risk limitation is limiting the likelihood that that attack will occur via controls. Risk planning is prioritizing, implementing, and maintaining controls that limit the time frame for the example of the phishing that I just talked about. And then risk mitigation, working on vulnerabilities that we've detected and can remove them. So again, those are going to be 4 general approaches to doing this. You always want to have a blend of those 4 different approaches. You're not going to can't just say, well, I'm patching, thus I am done with my risk mitigation. There are lots of things that you have to do do or accomplish that risk mitigation within your organization. As you're looking at what controls to implement, don't start from zero. Go back and look at the ISO 27000 series, Corbett, NIST are all great references. And then as you're looking at those controls, look at, again, how do we go in and reduce likelihood or impact on the organization. If you can do those things, then you can lower that risk within the organization via these controls to an acceptable level, or you're going to have to make a different decision. You're going to have to go back in and either avoid that risk or transfer that risk to someone else. All right, well, very good. This brings us to the end of the third of 7 videos on Chapter 8, and next we'll pick up on some of the additional readings and policy issues associated with making risk decisions. So keep on studying, keep on learning. Look forward to seeing you in the next video.